I have in the studio Joe Wise, and Joe Wise is Joseph Osei-Wusu. He is the Member of Parliament for Bekwai. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you very much.
All right, I love your dress. Who tailored it for you?
It's Pamsonsen. You know, when you go, the things are hanging there, you choose what you like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Somebody, my director is telling me it's not a dress. You know,
this is a suit, tropical suit.
Dress is because, you know, today is no Brady, so it's just bringing through. Remember the and then we also have George Lowe. George Lowe is a Member of Parliament for North Dine. Thanks for joining me. How are you?
It's a pleasure.
Okay. Let's discuss this. The Electoral Commission to go ahead with balloting for places on ballot paper for this year's polls, regardless of threat of court action from disqualified presidential aspirants. And I'll start with you, Joe Wise. First, what do you make of the Commission's own position based on how it interpreted the law and announced the disqualified candidates in the first place, and now saying to go ahead with the process nonetheless?
Okay, thank you, and good morning to our listeners, our viewers. If there's anybody watching me from Bekwai and beyond, I say good morning.
Morning to you too.
And good morning to all Ghanaians and my flag bearer, Nana Danko Akufo-Addo, and his running mate, wherever they are.
Were you at the event?
Yes.
Okay, great.
God is protecting them and giving them the necessary spiritual cover.
Amen.
On the EC and the disqualifications, I think the issue for me is in Regulation 9. It shows, I think 9 to 9.2, that if there's an error, the returning officer is required, the word there shall, to draw the attention of the applicant and give the applicant the opportunity to make amends. Now, if any of the disqualified candidates can show that this was not followed, then the EC himself may have breached the rules. Beyond that, if, for example, a candidate or applicant's attention was drawn to errors and he declined to take advantage to correct them, then it may be too late to complain. For me, that is the crux of the matter for all those who have been disqualified. And that is a matter of fact to be ascertained. Did that happen or not? If it did not happen, you may have breached the shall, which is a requirement of the law. It's not a discretionary. You shall bring it to the notice. And the person may take it back to correct it. The critical question, were the attention drawn as required by the law? If they were not, then the EC itself may have breached the rules. Now, after that, there are some which are constitutional. If there's a constitutional requirement that you and your running mate be 40 years or above, and you're not 40 years, nobody can do anything about it. There's a constitutional requirement that you must show that you have either paid all your taxes or had made arrangements satisfactory to the tax authority, and you have not. It's your fault. There's a requirement that you have no criminal conviction, or you are not being found culpable by any committee of inquiry, and you have. That it's constitutional. The EC cannot do anything about it for you. But those that goes to the other ones, the attention ought to have been drawn to them. Indeed, in the constituencies, we have a rather flexible arrangement with the returning officers. Sometimes they guide you, go through your documents with you, point out the errors, give you the opportunity to correct them and represent them. I've never applied for the presidency, so I don't know whether that is what goes on there. But I wish that we had that kind of informal arrangement indeed. And in my case, for example, a lot of the people who supported my nomination had entered wrong codes of their polling station, not deliberately or by accident, but because there have been changes in the position. Some polling stations have been split, so new codes have come. Even the polling station names had changed, and people were not aware. If you're here, it has been split. You either remain here or you go elsewhere. But until your attention is drawn to that, you may not know. So some of these infractions is a reason for which Regulation 9.2 is very important. Beyond that, I think the EC is entitled to go ahead once it has announced the list, and there is no suit pending or there is no order of any court directing it to stop.
Okay. How would you take how the parties have reacted to the announcement by the EC?
Well, Roland, thank you, and good morning to our cherry viewers. And of course, I will not be left out. Good morning to our presidential candidates, the President of the Republic of Ghana and his running mates, and all supporters of the NDC and Ghanaians. And let me also say that I agree, or I cannot agree more with my brother Joe Wise when he explains away what needs to be done. I'm not surprised that the parties have reacted the way they have reacted. Obviously, if you woke up one morning being told that you've been disqualified out of any contest at all, when you are so confident that you are the man of the moment, I mean, and of course when you have done very, very, very serious investments, as you can see, parties have bought vehicles, parties have trained people. I mean, they've put to expense a lot of things, resources. So you don't expect that they'll be smiling on their way home when they've been told that they've been disqualified. Having said that, I again agree with Joyce when he talks about the law. Did the EC give them the opportunity to do corrections in terms of clerical errors and the others, as they themselves want to believe? If yes, then they have only themselves to blame. If no, then the EC may have to look at its process. But again, this is an opportunity for us to begin to look at the process again. Because look, Roland, beyond the constitutional and the legal stipulations that the EC has to follow, there are also many other things that we need to consider. Disqualifying 12 political parties and individuals can be also a recipe for confusion, and therefore we need to tread cautiously when we are doing some of these things. Imagine that it were the MPP who was disqualified.
Well, the MPP can't be disqualified.
No, I'm saying that imagine if it were the MPP
or
the NDC.
Can't be disqualified.
Why?
They don't fall in this very hypothetical situation you're painting.
No. I'm saying that if it were the MPP or the NDC,
I'm saying that they don't fall in the...
Anything could have happened. They have mass support on the ground. Now, again, the Constitution, if you read it together with all the electoral laws that we have, there is this intention to ensure that people who wanted to stand for political office, save for criminal offenses and other things, must have the opportunity to do so. So again, we need to streamline how we do these things. When like Juwai said, when I filed as a parliamentary candidate, they went through the process with you when you were at the point of submission of forms, so that both you and the returning officer would have identified the challenges that you had, and you had the opportunity to go and correct them. At the level of the president, what we saw on TV was people submitted their documents, and I knew this was coming, because the moment they said we'll tell you when we'll come and announce whether you are qualified or not, I thought that there was a problem, because after Jan's time it never happened that way. So clearly, I thought that again there should have been designated officers to help people go through the forms and give them the opportunity to correct. We have a number of commissioners, and if we had 17 presidential candidates, even if we divided them two by or something, we still would have had a very because you see, in this game, I will be the first to admit that you have to be extra vigilant. Because look, what stops somebody from deliberately even signing for 3 political parties? And how are they able to know? Because when you are bringing your form, yours is not given to me, mine is not given to you.
But I want to know, within the parties, if you have proper laid down structures, can't you get people within the party to sign for you?
I am saying that, Roland.
By which you can guarantee their loyalty.
Roland, very basic. So I belong to party A. I want to do party B in. Okay, we can do a setup where I'll say, Roland, okay, you know what? Sign for me. I'll take your card. And it does happen at the primaries level. But you know your code number. Okay, so sign for another person. When the two comes, when at the party level,
where those people are just neutral people in the constituency,
yeah, it depends on
in the district or what.
Yeah, I mean, they said a registered voter.
Okay. Two from each district.
Two from each district. So what I'm saying is that if so anybody could have done that.
Yeah.
People had two cards. How were you able to know that they were not genuine cards? Because when it came to party A, you had the card, you saw the number, you put it there. You went to party B with another card.
So now you're saying there could be a possibility.
Yes, I'm saying that there are several things that can happen.
Okay.
For me, I also have few challenges. As I sit here, I know that there are still challenges about legitimacy of people's names on the in courts. Some courts that have not been determined yet. So if after they determine some people's name has been taken out, are we going to apply that law and say that that person whose name has now been taken out, if he has endorsed for somebody, does it affect the person? We must, but I think that the guiding principles must be that we should give people the opportunity and go through with them to correct. It doesn't cost us anything extra. You know, maybe the harm has already been done. As for the EC, to the extent that they don't have an injunction, to the extent that they have a timetable they are following, they will follow their timetable. We understand from monitoring the media space, you understand that some parties are threatening to go to court. Well, let's see how it plays out. I hope that those issues can be determined expeditiously so that we don't run the risk of any...
For example, yesterday we had Dr. Papakwesi Ndum of the PPP walk into the offices of the Electoral Commission. I hear had some short period or time conferment with the EC chairperson, etc. This very announcement, how does it perhaps reflect on the reputation of the Electoral Commission if it goes back on its word and readmits somebody among the 12 or 13?
Well, first, talking about doing somebody in, it is possible when your structures on the ground are not well defined.
Yeah. Yes, okay, I was asking.
Yes, because I didn't even, I called my chairman. I said, oh, we're here. We are doing this for the presidential candidate. For each district, you have a party executive to pick your party chairman or a party secretary. And that's how we did it. That one, it's not likely that
they'll go and sign
for another, or somebody else will procure that same person to do that. But we all know that for some parties, they are very strong at their headquarters. Beyond their headquarters, it's difficult to define who is a leader here. And from my own experience, there are some people who are chairman of some parties, constituency chairman, came to contest for polling station chairman in my party, in my constituency. That's how fluid their situation is.
Okay.
You know. So, but when it comes to the EC and their credibility in this matter, I don't think that these issues should affect their credibility so long as they can show that they're operating within the law. Just as they are saying that you have breached the law and therefore I've applied the rules. So should it be clear if it is found that they made a mistake for them to retrace their steps and admit anybody they wrongly excluded. For example, I've read Isankoma's letter on behalf of the question he raises is an issue that I've never considered, but it's a very relevant and
a possibility.
Because the issue is who is a disqualified candidate has not been determined yet. The law is clear, or the EC itself says, we have identified you as having registered twice. Because of that, we have taken your name off the main register and kept you on an exclusion list. Is that the end of the matter? Until the court determines that in view of this offense, this is your punishment, your name should be, you should be barred from voting in that or that election, is the person excluded.
So you conclude what?
I'm saying that, so some of the issues really are likely to result in a situation where the EC may revert.
And that very particular scenario that you refer to, of course, making reference to the letter from Benti Enche and the Cha. What does it mean? Does it mean that the person just needs to be replaced because his legibility to be on the register is in contention?
No, that's now until the court determines it. Are you out of the register or not?
You are in the register,
right?
Practically.
Yeah. So I'm saying that the exclusion list may.
So then, what does the Electoral Commission hypothetically needs to do in that position?
Well, I'm saying that when you're on the exclusion list, to me, it's only indicative that a court may subsequently direct that you be removed from the register. But until then, you're still eligible candidate. That's my interpretation. Eligible voter. Until the court
because there's no law barring you from
the exclusion list is not conclusive. In my view, is only indicative. So if it so happens and the court determines as or agrees with that interpretation, then it means that the grounds on which you disqualified, for example, may not be valid, and therefore you will have to reinstate her.
You see, what is even more interesting in that thing is that at least I have done some cases in recent times in respect of double registration and things, represented people in court. I found it very strange that in most cases, all the court did was, why did you register twice? Oh, I registered here, I didn't know that you were a new registration. I thought that it was a new registration, I went. Then they cancelled one.
Yes, so far.
So if they cancelled one,
you mean the court?
Yes, the court gives an order and says that
the person's name.
Yes, so
to keep his legibility to vote intact.
Yeah, because if you cancel one, it means that one subsists. So in this case, is that what
is going to
is going to be? I mean, we need to have clarity to some of these things. And so for me, I'll be interested in knowing what the Supreme Court or
it means that
the High
really
Court
may have cases if they
where the High Court will determine some of these things. And my other fear about the court issue is, you see, people are saying, I heard somebody say, oh, within 1 week, 2 weeks, these matters should be determined. When we're going to the Supreme Court for the election petition, our attitude was that within
2 months.
We stayed there for 8 months, depending on how council decides to conduct his case. And once he stays within procedure,
there's nothing you can.
Yeah. So we need to be careful how we manage these issues. To most people, it looks pedestrian, but for me, I think that we should be careful how we manage this process.
Joe Wise, how about the responsibilities that those individuals who were elected by their parties to formally submit their nominations and become the candidates in a formal election, also having a certain sense of responsibility of making sure they undertake some level of due diligence for the individuals who will be filling their forms?
I agree entirely, honestly.
Why then does it become a case for the Electoral Commission?
No, for me, there are these issues, all the issues I've talked about are legal. Beyond that, you should take responsibility for your mishaps. We should, as a country, learn to let people accept that I erred. If the person in charge has a legal
obligation,
opportunity to assist me, he may. But beyond that, that's why I'm interested in 9.2. Okay. It's a requirement, it's a legal obligation on the EC. Did they do that? If they did, there's no issue. If they did not, the issue arises. But even that one brings an issue as to at what time did you deliver your forms? Did you give me the opportunity to point out the errors to you? I'm closing at 5. You bring it at 3. If I don't get the opportunity to go through it, so I point out the errors to you before the time closes, can I be held responsible? When I'm talking about my own, we presented about 1 week before the time.
And you were told?
We got the time to make the corrections before representing it. You know, so those are the issues. But as far as I'm concerned, bearing the legal issues, we should take responsibility for our actions. If I'm responsible for bringing people to register, I mean, to endorse my candidate, I must make sure that every information that is available, I have access to it and use it. I would, for example, have taken a clear step to avoid the exclusion list, even though I'm arguing that it may not be, they may not be out of the register technically. I would avoid that risk anyway. Once I find out that you're on the exclusion list, and the exclusion list is available at every polling station.
Oh, really?
Yes, when they are doing the exhibition.
So it means that the candidates or the party themselves can have access?
Oh, yes. When they are doing the exhibition, they exhibit it along it. So you go to the main register, and then you see those who have been put on the exclusion list. So that information is available at the respective district offices, and you can access to check if any of the people who have endorsed for you is on the exclusion list. You quickly replace that person. Okay. But there are cases of fraud. Somebody deliberately changing the name and signing and so on. Those are more serious.
Yeah, you see, but again, this for me, the issues as they have happened is not what even matters so much. As to what lessons we need to learn from them. One, this is great clear signals to our parties. That you don't just get up and say, oh, Kofi here is very popular in this area, so he is constituency secretary or constituency secretary. It must be somebody who understands sufficiently the issues.
You mean in the political process?
Yes, in the political process. We should move away from just speaking on anybody. Yeah, near popularity. For instance, in my constituency, I have a young man who claims he's a constituency chairman of a party. He's never met anybody, even his regional chairman. He just gets a call and says, oh, we hear you're popular. Do you want to be yes? And the people who have filed and they've never met their regional chairman, they've just been instructed that we'll pay money, go and file. Those things are there, and that is something that all parties must begin to take a look at. Two, and even more importantly, another lesson we should learn is that and that should go to Parliament. In arriving at, do we agree with the Electoral Commission? Is it enough to have 2 days for nomination? Looking at the experiences that we have to receive nomination forms, because today we had 17 parties. Tomorrow, if you have 50. Would we have enough time to even go through the
population of 27?
It doesn't matter. You could get 100 people because the constitution allows it.
Okay.
So we may begin to look at the time space. Is 2 days enough, or we should make it a week, or whatever? Those are things that we need.
Did you hear the PPP say they speculate that they feel it's a conspiracy between the two main parties, the MPP and the NDC?
Well, I think I heard that
from the
chairman. But
well, that today
only they have whatever reasons they have to speculate. We would not.
Because you two parties only want to be the ones.
Yeah, but whatever it is, even an independent candidate went through. Yeah. So it means that if you did the right thing, the Electoral Commission cannot
stop you.
Okay. If you are diligent enough to do it. So in concluding this Electoral Commission matter, I think that we should look at our processes again, and we must be guided by both the law and the convention, because like I said, it may never have happened in Afarijan's time, not because
it couldn't have.
Yes, but it's because maybe they put in place a mechanism that avoided some of this. And then we also need to be consistent. You need to be consistent. There are times when the Electoral Commission has said maybe these things would have happened if they had cracked the whip earlier enough about party coverage of party and those location and all those things. Maybe they will not be having 17.
The geographical,
yeah,
and being stand on the parties meeting, they're very regulatory.
Yeah, things. That's what I'm saying, that we need to be consistent.
There are names on the register of party of the names of parties in the commission that you have never heard of.
True.
When we're doing this consultation on the constitution amendment, when I saw the list, I couldn't believe it. The names that I've never heard
in your life.
Yes, and they are, So we need to take a look at all that.
Okay, government has put before Parliament an amendment to the Supreme Court rule designed to empower the judiciary to adequately deal with possible electoral disputes after December 7. And the Attorney General and Minister of Justice laid the instrument in Parliament on Wednesday. I don't know whether you know about it. Already there are concerns amongst MPs over whether or not the instrument will be mature or will mature in time for the elections, given the limited time Parliament has to sit.
Yeah, well, the issue, I was in Parliament yesterday, the issue came up, and well, that's the concern of members. But the important thing is that there's a process, a procedure in Parliament. You lay, so there is AG at laid, and we'll see how it plays out. But I don't think that it's a big deal, because this is just to, as it were, amend our laws to help with expedited processes in respect. Should there be, we are not saying that yes, but should there be?
What if we see it's the magnitude that we saw it in 2013?
That's why I say that, well, at all material times, the Chief Justice, through practice direction, can give direction as to some of these things. So I'm saying that if we are able to make it pass, beautiful. If you are unable to make it pass, it causes no harm. Okay. Really, yeah.
Election disputes.
Well, I'm surprised at the Attorney General.
You mean it's too late in the day?
Of course, it's clear. This meeting will sit at most
21 days.
It's not up to 21 days. If it's 4 days. If
you mean that then you are done what? They give you a recess for you to go and concentrate on
yeah, and we'll come back after the election. So for me, it's dead on arrival.
Then you reconvene after the election, then you are dissolved.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then there's dissolution of the current parliament after the election.
Yes. And then anything before parliament, which was not concluded.
Yeah.
Yes, it lapses. You have to start afresh. So I understand the challenge with, the Supreme Court ordinarily doesn't take evidence.
Yeah.
It's an appellate court. So when the election petition came, it became an issue. Under what rules of law are we going to admit evidence and evaluate? They had to agree on some things at the bench and compromise. Okay. Right. So I think it's a lesson that we have learned from the election petition in 2013, and therefore we are making rules to provide for situations like that if it should occur again. But I think that it is way too late in time.
Okay.
It should have been done much earlier.
You still think?
Yeah, well,
we could still have disputes, and
I'm saying that it's been late. If it passes, fine. If it doesn't, the Chief Justice still has her powers intact, and she could, just as they negotiated during the election commission. But for clarity and consistency, it would have been nice if it passes. Yes.
And the Right Information Bill has also been laid before Parliament. So how do we chill? I'll start with you, Joe Wise. It's since Kufuor time.
No. What Kufuor's one never reached Parliament.
Oh, really?
It was still at cabinet.
Policy cabinet level, formulation level.
Proposals in and out.
But it was used extensively in the political debates at the time.
Yes. Oh, did it? No, I think it reached Parliament. Actually, yes. A committee did all the information gathering all outside the country.
What's the problem with that bill?
The current one before us.
It's an amended one from the initial one.
Yes, there were changes, but it was still way too restrictive. So we proposed several amendments to bring it in line with the AU model of right information. Right. So the proposed amendments alone are 50 pages. That makes it very tedious. If you know how we do consideration, each comma you have to move a motion, accepted, vote, the next full stop, and it makes it very tedious. I think that the best way is to withdraw it, incorporate all the proposed amendments, and relay it, and then it will go through. You recall this work we did on the Convention of the Sea and so on. It was huge, but we had done all the amendments at the pre-laying level and incorporated them.
Okay.
So it was withdrawn and laid. laid. So within a short period, we finished. It's the same thing with the companies proposed amendment to the Companies Code. If you look at the volume of amendments that are proposed and the volume of the document, it will not pass. So the emphasis now is, okay, incorporate the amendments and relay it before the next parliament. That one you're sure within a short period.
There's another thing your party is promising that they'll do some amendments to. Yesterday when you met the AGI.
Yes,
okay.
They raised issues, but my party is aware that a lot of work has been done on it, being very active.
And their concerns also need to be incorporated.
Yes, he has been, so you know that on this issue we can be very clear.
But the RTI, if you look at the time lapse we have before the current parliament is dissolved, that will be on January 7 morning, 2017?
Usually January 6.
January 6. It should be January 6, okay. So will it see the light of day, if I have to use that expression?
Well, like Joel says, there are various ways of doing it. I have, but yesterday with the Attorney General, I asked her, can we do this? And she says, well, we'll try. Because, you see, when the document comes to Parliament, it's parliamentary property and nobody can do anything about it. But at our level, we must do some diligent work. And that is what is causing.
It's not because you, the politicians, you don't want your information to be accessed. And
but so. you see, when people say that, I laugh. You know why?
Well, I'm saying it.
Yeah, you know why I laugh? Because when you and the media itself doesn't put premium on consideration. If you follow consideration process in Parliament, you will find that not more than 20 or 30 people do the consideration, show real interest on it. So it cannot be that politicians want. It's just those 20 people who must agree to the test and agree that that is what we intend to carry out. But you see, this is a law that is causing so many problems where they are up for application. We have various reasons why I think that we should do it. Even if we pass it, I have always said, even if we pass the RTI, do we have the architecture, the institutional architecture, to be able to deliver on what is there? So there are many questions, and we need to tread cautiously, not to just, appeal to the human caprices of people and then do a law that becomes an albatross. So we need to be careful. And for me, I'm for, as much as I would be happy to say that during our parliament we pass the RTI, we must also be sure that we are passing an RTI that can stand the test of time.
Roland, I think that sometimes we complain about small matters. The right to information is given by the Constitution.
You mean already?
It is there. That's true. What the Constitution says is that Parliament should pass a law to regulate its application and restrictions. So if you look at the original bill, it was all about restrictions. It is the Committee of Parliament that has said, this is too restrictive. The information is for the people anyway. The Constitution guarantees it. So we are not allowing this law to take that. So we want to bring it in line with the AU model. And the concept is that, hey, that information is for me. You hold it on my behalf. The only reason for which I will allow you to withhold it from me is when it will compromise the safety of the state or other than that. So for me, it is even better now. If you're a journalist and you need information, if they refuse, you go to court. There's no law restricting access to anything. And that is what the proponents of the those who are seeking information on the bus branding date, they went to court of the Constitution. And now, let's be frank.
And they got the information.
They got the information. Let's be frank. Anywhere, coming from where we are coming, our culture, people in authority would want to withhold information.
Because of our history.
Yes.
We have a certain history.
Yes.
And we all need to be mindful of it.
Right.
Because we never know.
And so, we should be willing to fight that culture.
Because we don't want to be rounded up one day just because Roland has a two-bedroom house somewhere. Okay, but there's this one. This one is just amusing, so we'll use it to end. And we'll end the show on this very platform. There's a picture I'll show you. What you make of it? Okay, you have Facebook accounts, the two of you? You don't have a Facebook?
Yeah, I have, but I don't remember the last time.
I used to have.
What do you make of soldiers taking pictures? In this instance, he just took a picture with Calipo, and now the Ghana Armed Forces wants to investigate him. Just one.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, I think that the Calipo thing, sincerely speaking, even though you are taking a political activist, is for the fun of it. That's how I see it. Yes, some people got the opportunity and made political capital out of it. I mean, my friends in the NPP, you know. But of course, they don't produce Calipo. And as for drinking Calipo, I don't think that there's any law against it. It's a military man taking his Calipo and taking a picture. Maybe he just wanted to join the fun. Whatever investigation they will do, I don't know how it will pan out. But I think that, I mean, it is not something that we should spend too much time on.
Wasting our time.
I think that
in today's world, every information on social media, you have to be very careful. Do you know that he put it that himself? Or somebody was doing his
communist man. Why are you afraid of social media?
No, I'm not afraid of it at all. But you have to look at information on social media with a very wide open mind.
It could come back to haunt you.
It could easily be done for you. Your Roland, your face is abandoned. They will pick your face and use it for something you will never dream of doing. So, but again, what is the offense in drinking Calipo? I don't see it. Maybe that's why I said this time they're investigating.
Okay, Joe Sewusu is a member of parliament for Bekwai, and also helping us in the discussion is George Lowe, member of parliament for North Dine. And we hope that you've enjoyed the show. As always, we'll come to you same time tomorrow, but please do make a date with us that time, but also watch regular programming on the channel. That'll be it for the AM show this morning. Bye-bye.
Good morning.